Good morning, everyone. It's good to be here, and congratulations on the MOU that was just signed. I have a lot to show you, so I'll try to be very quick. Let me start by giving credit to filtration, as it held our hand during the pandemic. Filtration is the common denominator of any indoor space we find ourselves in. Whether it's an airport, I'm sure some of you have traveled to come here today, home office, work, kindergarten, shopping mall, or university. Whether or not we inhale this indoor air, it's certainly a filtered air. Research has gone far to quantify this to up to 87 to 90% of our time spent indoors, and this paper highlights how this has been distributed. However, for years, air quality has been overlooked, ignored, misunderstood. The importance and implementation for over 50 to 60 years were not given the attention required. We have to all be grateful to COVID. I'm personally grateful because I've been in this field for 25 years, and I thought I was singing alone, but COVID has come in to shed light on the importance and implementation. For years, air filtration has been demanding its seat in the HVAC table. And if we get into any facility management meeting, the priorities will usually range between energy, thermal comfort, maybe cutting costs, increasing revenues. I have to really be honest, only when that filtration expert says, things look bad, the importance of air quality and air filtration then coming under a question. So, we've been polluting so much. Our footprint is absolutely horrendous. I've traveled from Turkey a couple of days ago, so I know what my footprint is. But we're polluting so much, and this is filtration intensive. The more we pollute, the more we're going to have to filter. So just imagine if I would come into a air handling unit manufacturer and ask for 6 or 7 or 8 stages of filtration. Who would listen to me? So part of compacting this is reducing pollution. So why don't we just stop polluting? Filtration is there to help us, but then we have to change our environmental behavior. This is where I was born, in Kuwait. It's a lovely city. It's a lovely view from my window. This is in the lockdown, and this is back to work. I can take this image in China, in the UK, in Brazil, but this is just to show how much we're polluting, and whether it's power generation, vehicle emissions, and so on. Eventually, we're going to have to filter what's up in the air. Your filtration system is going to have to differ. Suspended in this air is a lot of contaminants. The Eurovent document basically tells you cannot just render or consider the outdoor air as over-the-counter or generic. So there's 3 categories. The categories are basically distinguishes themselves based on PM 2.5 and PM 10. Let me just give you a quick example of what's up in the air. Anywhere from pollen to dust to fly ash to cement particles. You know, human hair is about 70 micron. We have a lot of gaseous contaminants. This is tremendous. I'm going to have to filter all of this to render this clean air acceptable. Now, acceptable is the word we're going to discuss today because everybody has his own definition. And standards need to come together to ensure what is acceptable in terms of all of these pollutants. The complexity is we don't just inhale PM 2.5 or PM 1 or NOx and SOx emission. We inhale a complex of this And by the same token, filtration systems are the same, which makes it very interesting and very complicated area of research. Another challenge is sandstorms. The question I'm posing here to the filtration standards is the dust or the particle concentration in your standard basically matches this storm. In this region, it's mainly silica dust, and inhaling silica dust at a higher concentration can be healthy and may, God forbid, cause cancer. So how can we take it from surviving to thriving? It's always doing the bare minimum. In the past 25 years, I've always heard there's no budget for air filtration, air quality. It's not really a priority. So again, we got to be grateful to the pandemic because it showed that it's not a philanthropy. It's not a nice consideration or a lovely option. And I have to be a bit tough on the HVAC industry. Filtration has been always considered to be an accessory. Again, the pandemic showed that it is not only a priority, but it's a pillar of the economic foundation. Our cities were rendered unfit to occupy, and we had to lock down. So what are we expecting now HVAC systems to do? First, in collaboration with filtration systems, respond to the indoor air quality variation. Entertain retrofits. Entertain and accept filtration upgrades. And when you say, I don't have the budget for it, just think of the cost of a lockdown. I'm sure it's infinitesimal when you compare it to the economic losses we've sustained. So governments have really varied in responses. Canada went and invested so much in installing high-efficiency filters for public buildings, hospitals, and schools. Other countries looked at ventilation. South Korea looked at air changes per hour, as well as filtration and ventilation. This is good. I like that, because it is a consequence of the pandemic. But why didn't we fail earlier? Because we've kept this facility management conventional methods afloat. We've bailed out conventional filters, we've overlooked maintenance tricks, subsidized duct cleaning and coil washing, we've obstructed any filter enhancements and upgrades, we've embraced this theology of washable filters, even reusing a disposable filter. Now the pandemic is hopefully subsiding. I hope that air quality and air filtration do not get delisted just like masks did. Ladies and gentlemen, this is pre-COVID. And I'm sure if we go anywhere, not only across this region, but globally, this is what we're going to have. What does that tell you? Air filtration has never been a priority. And only when we have these settlements on the diffuser, and later on our respiratory system, we then do something about it. Smart buildings. Such a buzzword. Everybody wants to be in a smart building, have a smart building. But let me ask you this question. Who could claim that we've done our filtration homework? Who could argue that this 1-inch filter with 2-inch thickness would render our built environment fit to occupy? This is a prime time to revolt not only against thin filters, but thin budgets for filtration. So dedusting a clogged filter, relying on clogged duct cleaning and washing of coils. This is an invitation for any facility manager here today to go back and invite yourself to your air handling unit. Just have a surprise visit. Let's see what we find. Water accumulation, inappropriate installation of filters, filter failures, filter collapse and rupture. Wouldn't that be worth a visit? Pressure gauge is disconnected. Absolutely stunning. Yet, we demand the best indoor air quality possible. Again, if you have this kind of filtration, eventually you'll have this kind of duct, and you'll spend more money on duct cleaning than you probably spend on enhancing your air filtration. This is just an example of a coil that is so dusted and tremendous amount of chemicals and water is needed to bring it somewhat near the design condition. Of course, sometimes when we wash or clean coils, we're cleaning the dust cake into the coil and not really out of the coil. So the same thing goes with the thermal wheel cleaning. If we zoom a little bit closer, you can see that you're getting the dust and the water into the thermal wheel. Again, any show of hands, who would want to be an occupant of this indoor space? I don't think a single person would subject themselves to this sort of filtration, I would say, failures between washing a disposable filter, delamination of pleats, rupture of particles. This is 25 years ago. First document I saw on a tender document. It says permanent filters. So I went and dug deep. What is a permanent filter? Somebody told me it's a metallic filter. So what is so permanent about this corrosion part? Leaving filters until they reach their bankruptcy stage. Filters, when they rupture, it's fixed in this manner, and then later on, glass fiber becoming airborne. Again, installation, leakage, common chronic feature, not only in the region, but frankly across at least the Middle East, where I've seen installation. I'm sure if we visit anything worldwide, we'll find the same. Having particle counters will be immediately letting you know whether your filtration performance is verified. So we need to purchase filter, we need to acquire them. Where are we held responsible? Throughout, whether you are selecting a filter, purchasing, manufacturing, demanding leakage and fractional efficiency test, if you're looking at an operating theater, or if you're looking at high efficiency application, how you transport, how you handle, install, even store filters. How would you maintain and monitor? I was telling a gentleman one time, ensure that your pressure gauge is on. And he said, I can easily remove a clip, have a leakage, and the pressure drop will never reach its final pressure drop. There's always this maintenance tricks that are available. So visiting the AHU, eyeballing, visual inspection will always be good. Disposal is equally important. I've seen this in several places. HEPA filters, after they've been used, they're left in the corridor or in the basement, and this becomes a health hazard. So let me talk about this gentleman here, which I feel really sorry for. First of all, he's suffering because there's no access to replace filters except from this side, which is quite tight, as you can see. This is the pre-filters, these are the pocket filters, and the only access is from there. This is a health hazard. No tools, no conditions, no instruments compared to a professional technician, possibly in the West, having all what it takes to make a difference. So what am I suggesting? I'm suggesting that you get access from the front side, and this can be easily discussed and finalized with your AHU manufacturer. One common thing I've seen is in a shopping mall, for example, you see a exhaust of a restaurant in the vicinity of an AHU, and eventually your AHU will be further challenged. Storing lunch and cleaning tools, this just tells us how much we have been unfair to our maintenance teams. And I'm going to be talking briefly about training and retraining of them and making maintenance teams part of the success equation. So in a maintenance schedule, what's available? What am I giving that poor guy in terms of tools? His facility is aging, HVAC equipment is aging. There's no spaces to upgrade. There's no budgets to use. He's lacking the conditions, the tools, and the training. And I'm glad Marcus today mentioned this about training and retraining, which Eurovent Middle East is working to do something about. When you're looking at filtration, I suggest you seek professional advice from filtration experts. You specify your filtration requirements. You look at performance, verified performance, because you're going to be held responsible if you are in facility management. And please remember, filtration mistakes can be expensive, not because they can cause infection, but they can also affect your performance of the equipment performance. So it's a good chance today. I'm very positive. Let's reimagine the way we think of air quality. And what I'm proposing today is an initiative, starts with challenge and change. Challenge the status quo. Reject the notions of all these maintenance tricks and shortcuts. And I invite not only the governments in the region, but global governments to facilitate that change. Invest in retrofits, invest in filtration upgrades, greater filtration technologies, smart HVAC technologies. And then the government can also help quantify and report when you deploy particle counters in your building. You can certainly have a report and you can show your progress and success and how your pre-COVID maintenance plan has changed post-COVID. Regulate and reward. Since you've done that homework, you went the extra mile. I know we would like it to be legally binding, but let's reward those people that help make a difference, take air quality to the next level, raise the bar of air quality through the utilization of air filtration. And hopefully after we do all of this, we can aspire to a better built environment that's good for our kids, for our generations to come, because I'm sure no one of us would like to have their loved ones in contaminated places. Let me conclude by saying, we have what it takes. As Mr. Tariq said at a certain point, we have everything. We have the technology, we have the HVAC minds and technologies and manufacturing. We have air filtration manufacturers that produce and invest on research and development. I know I hear this narrative all the time. Let's be ready for the next pandemic. My narrative today is, let's not have a pandemic. Let's do the homework so we don't have pandemics anymore. And let's get it right. Sustainable air filtration performance. Let's lead the conversation of air quality, not leave it, so that we don't have to flee, but rather fight. Thank you very much.